Hi, my name is Sarita.
And my name is Rena.
We are both past patients with Mexico Bariatric Center, and we are here to break the stigma of having weight loss surgery in Tijuana, Mexico. We will be covering all things bariatric to help you get the most out of this weight loss journey. On this episode, we are going to be talking about mistakes to avoid after surgery.
Yes, because bariatric surgery is a great solution for long-term weight loss and helping you maintain a healthy weight. But it is not the easy way out.
No.
And it does take a lot of discipline and
it's a tool. It's not magic. You're not going to lose weight overnight. It is a great solution, as Rena said, for maintaining a healthy weight. I am 5 years, 7 months post-op.
yes.
And I've been maintaining for 4 years, almost 4.5 years actually.
Yeah,
So
you're doing a good job at it too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it is an effective tool for treating things like obesity and morbid obesity.
Right.
But you do have to follow those guidelines and avoid some risky mistakes. So we're going to talk about some of the most common mistakes that we see patients make and go from there.
Okay. So the first mistake that most patients possibly make would be not drinking enough water.
Right.
The body needs water to aid in the healing process after surgery.
Yeah.
Getting enough water in also helps you feel more energized, because if you don't get enough in, you get dehydrated, you start to feel weak and dizzy and nauseous. You might even, faint. I fainted once.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
It was very scary. I was dehydrated one time, and that was post-op.
I've had like dehydration headaches, but I don't know that I've never been like dehydrated enough to faint. That would scare me.
It was also very hot, and I probably should have had more water that day or more fluids, and I didn't, and it was pretty scary.
Yeah. So one thing that keeps me motivated to drink water is that you actually lose more weight drinking more water. So a lot of people don't know this, but when you lose weight, it has to go somewhere, right? Where does weight go? How does it leave the body? It doesn't evaporate, right? So you actually lose weight by through your urine. So fat processes out of your body through your urine. So the more water that you drink, the more, not necessarily the more weight that you lose, but it also increases weight loss just from drinking water. So it helps keeps me motivated. It's like, I need to lose weight. I got to drink water. I got to flush it out.
Right.
So
It's true.
yes, keep up your hydration so you can keep up your weight loss. Keep it up, keep it going. And then water also helps you avoid some pretty serious like detrimental health issues such as dehydration.
Right. Dehydration is not fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So you should choose a sugar-free hydration.
Again.
Sugar equals carbs equals fat.
Yes. Again, sugar equals carbs equals fat. And then one of the reasons we reiterate this so much is that one of the number one causes of weight gain is liquid calories. So it's always important to try to stay away from sugary drinks.
Right. I mean, I know that they say in there you can do like fruit juice and dilute it, but really try and stay away from that, because there is sugar in fruit juice.
There is, and it is okay to do it like that first phase there, but try to wean yourself away from it.
Yeah, it's not an everyday thing. It's just to get you through that hump of the first phase.
Right, because it doesn't hurt in that phase,
right.
But definitely wean away. And a lot of people say, well, I just can't drink water. Water is so bland, it's so plain. Or I hear people say water gives me heartburn. I'm not going to argue with them on that, because before I had surgery, water did give me heartburn, so I get it. But you can do things like adding lemon. My favorite is lime. I love adding lime to water. tend to drink just room temperature bottled water. That's really my go-to.
I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that or cold. And I add Mio drops to mine for flavor. I've never had a problem with water.
Right. So sometimes in the summer, you know what I really like to do? I like fresh and fruity. So in the summertime, I like to add some raspberries in my bottles of water. Yes, and raspberries are so soft and squishy that you can just drop them down in the bottle of water, put the lid on, and shake it really aggressively. And then you got some super yummy raspberry flavored water.
They're low in natural sugar.
Yeah, and then there's cucumbers.
Right, you can do cucumbers. Yeah, there's all kinds of things you can add.
Lots of things to add without going to crazy sugary drinks. Natural sugar is always, if you're gonna have sugar, natural sugar like from fruits is always better. Right. Yeah. So another mistake that patients make often is not taking post-op vitamins. Right. So they think, oh, I don't need vitamins, especially like gastric sleeve patients. They're like, I just had a sleeve, I don't need vitamins. That's not true. For at least the first year, recommended 2 years, but at least the first year, you need to take those vitamins. If you don't know what vitamins to take, reach out to the nutritionist or Sarita or I, either one. We will get that information for you. But you do need to take vitamins. It's crucial to adhere to appropriate vitamin intake. You're eating such a low calorie diet at this time. Your body's not used to that. Your body's used to higher calorie diets prior to surgery. So you do want to make sure you're taking appropriate supplements.
Right. And you may not show consequences immediately, but you definitely will over time.
Right.
Your levels may seem normal, you know, your labs, but then they'll begin to drop, causing a series of health issues.
Right. And listen, especially like bypass, if you had any malabsorption procedure, bypass, whether it be mini bypass, RMY, or the DS, make sure you're on taking your vitamins. It's so important. And you, like Sarita said, your labs might be normal that first couple of months, and you think, oh, my labs are normal, I don't need these vitamins. But the thing is, with these supplements, you don't know that there's a problem until there's a problem, and then it's hard to fix the problem
until it's too late.
Yeah, because you're going to be looking at things like heart loss,
heart disease.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Heart disease. So some things that could happen: heart disease.
Yes.
Loss of bone density.
Tooth decay.
Right. Memory loss.
Oh, that's me. See.
Difficulty focusing.
Yeah, that's me too.
Fatigue.
But I take my vitamins.
Yeah. Impaired vision, and let's talk about hair loss.
Oh, hair loss.
So I did not have any hair loss because, well, I know I can't say because, but I did not have any hair loss. I took my vitamins, stayed hydrated, got my protein in first, took my biotin. I don't know, maybe part of it was genetics, but I did not lose any hair.
She's got great genes, y'all.
Italian, thank you.
So I did have some hair loss with the first surgery. It wasn't too bad, but I did have it. My second surgery, I had less hair loss because I was more proactive with vitamins. So I have a little regimen that I did. I was already taking vitamins because I had sleeve. Right. And I had weaned off a lot of them because I was 3 years post-op, so I didn't really need a lot. But one thing I did right before my second surgery, my DS surgery, is I started doing biotin and Vital Proteins collagen. And so I maintained that up through, you're supposed to stop taking vitamins 2 weeks before. But I still kept taking the collagen all the way through, and then maybe not like the week of surgery, because I didn't take it with me to travel, and I was gone like 10 days with my extended trip. And then, but I did start retaking that that collagen when I got back. And so I didn't have much hair loss, but I was very proactive, and I was also very, as soon as I could take vitamins again, I also started taking like zinc and vitamin E, and all the vitamins that help with hair. So I didn't have much hair loss at all with the second surgery, and I attribute that to being more proactive with the vitamins. Yes.
I did not know it was a thing until long after I had surgery.
And so you started helping patients with it,
yes,
right?
I had no idea could be a thing that could happen.
Yeah, and hair loss is usually like the number one thing that people ask, am I going to lose my hair?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a pretty big deal. And the answer, it's $1 million question though, because
we cannot guarantee you will not lose hair.
But vitamins help. Whether you do or you don't, vitamins are going to be your thing there. Preventative.
Another mistake that patients may make is not following the pre-op or post-op guidelines. It is very, very important to follow the guidelines.
And it's just as important to follow pre-op as it is post-op for your long-term success.
Right.
Yes.
This surgery is a tool to eat less. It is not magic. It is hard work sometimes.
It is.
It gives you time to create healthy habits, and the pre-op also gives you the tools so it becomes natural, it becomes a habit.
Right, and by restricting your stomach to a smaller size, you're only eating a small amount of food, so you have that time to develop those habits.
Yeah, very important to follow the pre-op diet. It's helping prepare your body for surgery, shrinking your liver, which we talked about on the previous podcast. It's important to follow this to avoid the risk of complications during surgery.
Or cancellation.
Because
you could get to TJ and get your surgery canceled. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Your cousin's mother's brother's sister, that girl on Facebook, might have said that she ate a hamburger the day before surgery when she was supposed to be on clear liquids and she still had surgery. Well, she got lucky. Because that is not always the case. We see canceled patients regularly who ate food and they got put to sleep, and then there was food in their stomach and they got canceled, and they had to pay for their flights, they had to pay for their labs, they had to pay for the hotel, they had to pay for the driver services, they had to pay for the attempt to do surgery, so they just lost all that
anesthesia,
money.
The actual surgeon,
the surgeons, fees, the everything. It's so you might as well have just paid for surgery.
Right, and they will know if you did not follow the pre-op guidelines.
They will know.
They will know.
They literally see inside your stomach.
Yes.
Literally. And then the post-op diet. It is super imperative to make healthy food choices during post-op diet for so many reasons. Again, you're learning there. The things that you eat are what's going to make or slow. You're going to lose weight, okay? You may be on the lower BMI range, which means you don't have a lot of weight to lose.
And you will lose slower.
And so you're going to lose slower. If you're choosing food choices, even if they're soft foods, so they fit in the phase, but it's not a healthy choice, you're adding more calories, you're just going to slow your results. And then it's just an important time to learn. It's a learning curve there.
And that is why you go through 4 phases. You have goals in each phase. In phase 1, your goal is to stay hydrated. In phase 2, your goal is to get in your protein.
Thicker liquids.
Right, thick liquids. Your goals in phase 3 are to start weighing your food.
Right.
And your goals,
there's soft solids.
Right, soft solids. And your goal and you're supposed to be following all the previous goals as you move into your phases. And goals in phase 4 is to follow all the other goals from the other phases and transition to solid food. It's very important to try one new food at a time to see if you are able to tolerate it.
Right. And whatever you do not skip phases. Don't go from clear liquids to soft foods. You can't do that. You have to go through that thick liquid phase. And again, so-and-so's mother's brother's cousin's sister girl on Facebook might have said, hey, on day 5, I was eating eggs.
Right. No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Because that person probably also reported a complication that was probably their fault.
Right. And you do not want to rupture anything.
No.
We've seen it happen.
It's all there for a reason.
Right.
Not only are you learning to make healthy choices through this, but you are trying to heal the inside of your body.
Right.
And it's just detrimental to do that. So just don't skip your phases.
Don't skip ahead. Don't get in a rush. Just go slow.
Yes, you can. If you don't follow guidelines, you're gonna, you could potentially have stomach and gastrointestinal problems.
Right. Or some other major complications.
Yeah.
We've seen everything.
Yes. And I think we already mentioned that post-op diet is there, and it helps you, if you follow it, it helps you lose weight at a good rate.
Right. And you are going to have stalls while your body catches up and adjusts. And we get this question all the time about the 3-week stall. Yes, it's real sometimes, and just do what you're doing. Trust the process.
You're not done losing weight.
You're not done losing in 3 weeks.
Promise.
Trust us.
Promise. You're gonna lose more weight.
Right.
Yes. And just trust the process. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
People say all the time, what can I do to break the stall? Well, you don't really have to do anything. I mean, sometimes later on there's things you can do. And we'll go over that in a whole nother episode.
Right.
Another thing too is always weigh your food. Don't skip that. That's a mistake people make, especially long term.
Right.
They think, I know what, you don't want to consume more than 8 ounces at a time long term.
Right.
6 to 8. But if you're starting out with like 3 to 4 ounces of meat and then like the 3 to 4 ounces of vegetables, next thing you know, you're like, your eyeballs have grown. And it does it over time. So as your eyeballs grow and you eat more, then you're stretching your stomach more. And then next thing you know, more so than stretching your stomach too, you're numbing your pressure receptors.
Yes. And you'll never get that back.
You can't get that feeling back. So people say, well, my stomach is stretched, so I don't get full like I used to. It's probably more so that you've numbed your pressure receptors than you have actually stretched out your stomach too much.
You're just not feeling that restriction because of the receptors.
Right. So weigh your food. Weighing your food will prevent you from numbing those pressure receptors.
And if you eat protein first, it's going to keep you full.
Yes.
And you're not going to need to eat every couple hours.
Which goes into our next mistake. Snacking.
Yes, snacking too much.
So snacking too much is a habit that a lot of people pick up.
It is.
And you're not weighing snacks.
You're just grabbing them and eating them.
Yes, walking by the counter and grabbing some Cheetos. I did that recently. And so I noticed that I think over the course of about 2 days, I ate a whole bag of Cheetos, like 3 or 4 at a time every hour. So don't do that.
And they go down very easy.
They're
They're considered slider foods. They slide right down. And
Yes.
they taste good, and they don't make you full.
Yes, and everybody says they eat popcorn, and there's nothing wrong with eating popcorn in small doses. But it is a slider food, so be careful with it. The thing about snacking is that you're just giving yourself extra calories that you don't need.
And, right after you have surgery, for the first 1 to 2 years, roughly, this is the time that you're going to be losing weight. This is when you're going to be losing the bulk of your weight. So, avoid the snacks.
And then once you get past that honeymoon phase and you're snacking, well, you're gonna have a hard time maintaining if you're throwing extra calories in for no reason. Now, you'll hear me say all the time that my daily meals look like 3 hours later is like a light snack, 3 hours later a meal, and that a planned meal is not a snack necessarily. No. It's like a planned snack is not a snack. It's a planned.
It's part of your plan.
Yes. So. But walking by a counter and grabbing Cheetos, that is
not
that is called grazing, actually.
Yes,
that is not a plan, and don't do that. So, what are some good ways, Sarita, to avoid not snacking?
So keep everything out of plain sight.
Yeah, like don't leave the Cheetos on the counter if you have to keep stopping to eat them.
Plan your meals, plan your snacks, have them in a place where you have access to them don't leave anything on the counters. I know some of us have children and husbands and things like that, and they maybe eat different, but put those snacks away, have yours accessible to you, and you can stick to your plan.
Right. Right. And so that way you're not adding the hundreds of calories for no reason to your body.
You will definitely start gaining.
Yep. You will, or you will slow your weight loss.
Yes, definitely.
In the early phases.
Right.
And now, so Sarita, let's talk about another mistake that we see with after bariatric surgery. That is alcohol.
Drinking alcohol does not provide any nutritional value.
No, it doesn't.
It is loaded with calories and sugar.
And what is sugar?
Sugar
equals carbs, which equals fat.
Right.
Yes. And so, in alcohol, every single gram of alcohol has 7 calories that the body has no use for.
No nutritional value.
None whatsoever. And drinking alcohol post bypass is even more important. Like not drinking alcohol post bypass is even more important, or avoiding it, I should say, because with bypass, the alcohol is getting into your bloodstream a lot faster at a more rapid rate, and so you're liable to be very intoxicated very quickly, which could be dangerous, especially if you think prior to surgery you could drink a lot and it didn't affect you.
It will definitely affect you now.
It will affect you differently, for sure. And so the thing about alcohol is that you can drink alcohol in the future. It is not really advised. Like we just mentioned, alcohol is full of sugars and calories that you don't need. But if you're going to do it, you want to wait at least 8 weeks.
Yes, 8 weeks. And
at least.
It's a really sensitive subject, but there is also something known as transfer addiction. Very slippery slope with alcohol. And we will address that in a future podcast. But that is something to be aware of. It happens to patients.
It does. We do see transfer addictions post-bariatric, especially without alcohol being probably the number one transfer addiction.
Right, absolutely.
Next to shopping.
And okay.
No, really. We'll get into all that later. That's just me.
I like shopping.
I like shopping. Yes. Do I have a transfer addiction, or do I just like treating myself? I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll get into that later. But yeah, if you're going to start drinking alcohol, you can consult with a nutritionist or your surgeon or doctor, your PCP, somebody, and then don't try it by yourself.
No.
Don't try it by yourself, and don't try it in public.
Don't
unless you're with a trusted person. I mean, you can try with a trusted person, but wait 8 weeks. And then, so another mistake that we see is carbonated beverages too soon.
Right.
If at all. So carbonated beverages are a very debatable topic in the bariatric world. You'll see surgeons say that they cause the stomach to stretch. You'll see surgeons say that that's not true. You'll see surgeons vary from every end of every spectrum on carbonated beverages, and there's even some debate about it amongst our surgeons. But one thing that remains true amongst all of them is that you do want to avoid carbonated beverages for at least that first 8 weeks, especially the first year if possible. Drinking carbonated beverages can put you at different risk of different things. One of the most important things in the early phases is bloating. Carbonated, your tummy is tiny, and if you're filling your tummy with air, you just blew it up. And so bloating would you wouldn't know if you were bloated from gas pain, or if you're bloated from a more serious complication. So it's better to avoid, especially in that early part.
I don't drink soda. I hadn't drank soda in probably 15 years. So
I'm not a soda drinker, but
yeah.
I mean, there are some carbonated beverages that I like.
Yeah.
Some zero sugar.
Yeah, I can't have
stuff.
soda for a different reason.
Yeah.
I had an issue with bladder spasms, and so I quit soda completely, and I don't want to ever go through that again. So
Yeah, and things like, even if it's not soda, so soda specifically, again, is a lot of sugar.
Right.
And sugar equals carbs equals fat. And then sodas and other, even if they're non-sugar, like zero sugar style energy drinks, they have caffeine. And so caffeine leads to dehydration.
Right.
And consuming things with extra calories, again, it can cause lack of weight loss.
Right. And you don't want to drink your calories, and you don't want to get back into that cycle of drinking soda every day, because sugar equals carbs equals fat.
Yeah.
And again, you will not lose weight. You may gain weight. So
yeah,
I suggest, trying to stay away from it altogether.
Yeah.
Water is good for you.
Water is your best friend.
Right. Water is your best friend.
It really is. And how could you choose soda when you can choose water, and water promotes the hydration you need to lose more weight, and your whole goal in this is losing weight.
And I think the most important thing about the carbonation, the acid can also cause gastric erosion over time.
It can. A lot of carbonated drinks have the acids in them that cause that.
Right. So that's important to know.
It is. And drinking a lot of with acid erosion in your stomach, it can lead to things like indigestion, which is no fun. Nobody wants that in their life, right? So what would you say, Sarita, is probably your biggest mistake in your journey?
Okay, so I already know this one.
Transparency here.
So after 5 months of losing weight consistently, I thought it was okay to eat popcorn every day.
Oh.
And I gained back 12 pounds.
From popcorn.
From popcorn.
Okay.
Yes, it was truly popcorn.
See?
And
Slider
food. And I thought, well, it has protein.
It also has a lot of carbs.
Yeah. So after a 7-month stall and gaining 12 pounds, I got serious about my journey and cut out the popcorn.
Okay.
Really got serious and lost another 50 pounds by strength training, yoga, eating right, meal planning. I mean, it just got really serious.
Yeah.
And met my goal weight and have been maintaining ever since. So about 4 years or so. 4.5 years. Yeah.
So, you know what I think my biggest mistake is? Oh, I don't really know about I think my biggest mistake is not drinking enough water. Like, water is my best friend, okay, but I get busy during the day and I just forget, and next thing I know, I know that I need to drink 1 bottle of water between each meal. And if I don't do that, then it's hard to get in at least the 64 ounces a day. And a lot of times I'll go from breakfast to it'll be almost dinner time and I've had 1 bottle. Yeah. And I'm like, ew. So I have this big note on my desk that says drink water, and I have reminders set on my phone. But if I'm busy, I forget. That's probably my biggest mistake. Is just at this point not making time for more water. But I think my first mistake, which is was eating entirely too much ranch seasoning with canned chicken and an avocado salad that I don't know what I was thinking.
That was a mistake.
It was a mistake. It was a big mistake. So I told that story in our post-op thing, but just to reiterate, I thought that for my first soft solid food, I would do a canned chicken avocado ranch thing, and I had bland food up to that point. So hey, I thought I'll add the extra ranch seasoning, and yeah, that was gross. That made me sick. It's the only time I got sick.
So I did make the mistake of trying caffeine too early. Coffee. and proceeded to have a dumping syndrome. My
Oh,
and only time.
With
my coffee creamer.
Creamer,
So,
all that sugary liquid.
Yeah, so that was my other mistake. Only happened once.
Do you have any other mistakes? Can you think of any other mistakes?
I can't really think of anything. I really, really follow the guidelines still.
Yeah.
And because I really want to be successful, and I want everyone to be successful.
Yes,
that's what we want. We want everyone to be successful, and I want to be there to help others get through their journey and be successful.
Yeah. I think too, another mistake, I don't know if I would call it a mistake or a learning lesson. Maybe it's both, but I have gotten off track, and once I ate like sugar, it was really hard to get off of eating sugar. So like even prior to surgery, I was not a big sugar sweet eater. But then knowing that I like trying so hard not to, so like say I go to an event and have a dessert, a cake, and then like right now I'm craving something sweet because I decided to buy a candy bar the other day, right? So it was a special candy bar, and so now it's just been me fighting that sugar, and sugar equals carbs. So what happens is if you eat sugar, then you crave carbs.
So it's almost like you have to detox every time you eat something like that, and it takes a couple days to get out of your system, and it's almost like starting over again. Yeah,
and if you do it too much before you catch it,
then it's a continuous cycle.
It is, and when you try to break it, what happens is that you get headaches, you get withdrawals. You really get sugar and carb withdrawals.
Detoxing from drugs.
Like there's studies that say that you detox from sugar and carbs like the way people do from like cocaine.
A lot of patients tell us that, I have such a bad headache, I have a migraine, and they're detoxing off carbs.
Yeah.
They're detoxing off caffeine the first few days on pre-op, and you just have to go through it. It's a couple days, and then everything will be fine.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
Yeah, I always tell people too, if they're booking their surgeries further out and they have a couple of months before they have to start their pre-op, I tell them to wean themselves off carbs and sugar. Like, don't try to cold turkey that, because that is a mistake.
I had to cut the caffeine because I booked so quickly.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah, it's a detox.
Yeah, the detox.
Yeah, that's not really a mistake. That was a not knowing, but I feel like if somebody advises you and then you don't take that advice, then that turns it into a mistake, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So, any other mistakes you had in mind? Like any others, like you've seen from somebody, or eating steak 3 days post-op?
Oh, well, yes, we have that happen all the time.
Yeah, or apples or potato chips, or let's don't do any of those things.
Follow the guidelines. The best advice I can give, follow the guidelines.
Yes, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. We'll
Bye.
see you next time.
If you have any questions or want to share your bariatric weight loss journey, you can call or text us at 480-999-4826 or send an email to podcast@MexicoBariatricCenter.com. You can also follow Mexico Bariatric Center on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Keep in mind, these are the opinions of the host. The views represented do not reflect or define the values of Mexico Bariatric Center. This podcast is sponsored by Emerge Bariatrics and Mexico Bariatric Center. Please visit MexicoBariatricCenter.com for more information.